so I was like, no, not Kahai. That guy's like a millionaire. Oh, hey.
yeah.
Oh, how's it going? Hey, everyone. Welcome to Thursday Live Lessons. My name is Aldrine Guerrero, joined by Mr. Aaron, the voice Nakamura. Say what's up, Aaron.
What's up?
Mr. Kahai, the legend Fergan. Say what's up, Kahai.
What's up?
And returning, finally. Got back to nest. Like, you just went away for the winter. You're finally back to the nest. Welcome back, Mr. Magic Mike. Have a round of applause, audience.
What's up, guys?
Mr. Magic Mike Odo.
Actually, technically, I did dance in the retreats.
Oh,
podcast.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I did
that is
jump
true.
in just long enough to dance.
Yeah. So, and
And I barely got you because when you were coming in, I was swapping cameras. I was like, oh no!
Gotta get the dance. Gotta get the dance. Right on. So this is Thursday Live Lesson. How this works: you guys ask us questions, we answer them, or I answer them, and then these three guys come in with their 2 cents, or sometimes Mike answers them, and me and these 2 other guys, like come in with our 2 cents, and then we come up with a super answer.
We just listen to Mike because we have no idea what we're
For the
saying.
most part, we just kick back and be like, Mike, tell us about music theory.
Face flower.
Tell us about music theory, Mike. Can you just tell us?
Tell us about romanticism, please, Mike.
Tell us about chord extensions and substitutions, Mike. Can you just... I love that story.
Let's just spend another hour talking about tone centers, please.
Yes, so this is a special episode because Magic Mike is here. So all those people who are live in the audience right now, because it is Thursday Live Lesson, we have a chat, so you can chat with us and just ask us questions, ask us whatever you want, and especially music theory related questions. I'm breathing hard because I just finished a Lechon Kawali plate.
Kira, we have the title for this episode.
Man, I'm just like, whew, it's like I have shortness of breath because I can only breathe so much. There's only so much room that
the title of this episode is actually going to be "Why is it called Tinono anyway?"
So that's how it works. You guys can ask us questions. We prefer the music theory kind of related questions, or but you can ask anything. You can ask what's Mike's favorite food or whatever. What's Kahai's hat size or whatever. You can ask us anything, right?
What was the last thing Kai spent some of his millions of dollars on?
Ooh, we don't want to, disclose. That's Kahai's private life. You know what I mean? He doesn't want people hitting him up for money. People know he's a millionaire.
I wish it was cooler. Just computer parts.
This is see him working here is his Clark Kent, and then he goes back home to his
Stark mansion.
His Fortress of Solitude.
Fortress of Solitude. Yeah, that's when he's Superman.
Kai actually has the huge key that he has to insert and turn.
He's more like Hawkeye, and he likes bows and stuff. So let's just get started here. I know we're gonna go off in different kind of tangents all throughout this episode. So let's get started and throw us the first question, Kahai.
Devin asked, "What's Mike's favorite food?"
What is your favorite food, Mike?
That depends on my mood quite a
lot.
lot.
Yeah. What's name your top 3?
Top 3. Variety of sushi.
Okay.
Love sushi.
Yeah, okay.
Pizza.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Lechon Kawali is pretty up there right now for me.
So, Tinono style.
It's Tinono style.
So, if you had to live life either without pizza or without sushi, what would you pick?
Oh my god. I don't know if I'd be living really if I had to do without those two.
Most of his sustenance comes from those two.
I have an answer for that.
If I had to actually cut one out, probably pizza. Because sushi technically is healthier.
I'll tell you why that's the wrong answer.
Haven't you ever heard of margarita pizza? That's pretty healthy, right?
It's true. So I pick pizza, to live with because I can eat bad pizza, and
oh, that's true.
And it's fine. I'll be like, oh, this pizza tastes kind of funky, but I can't eat bad sushi.
That is true.
You know what I mean?
That's
there's
true.
some consequences to bad sushi, whereas bad pizza, it's okay, well, it was terrible.
It's just bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's true. I give that.
I feel too, pizza is pretty hard to make it unedible or
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, this
Right,
pizza
right.
is so terrible. I don't want to finish the slice. Even when it's like, oh, this
Like
pizza's
the-
not great.
So
I'm going
in
to
order-
finish it.
pizza-
So in
It's
order,
like,
so in
that's how
order
you
to
eat it.
not get this place sued, I won't mention the places, but there are definitely places here on Kauai that make pizza
Oh.
that I can't eat. Like they're that bad.
Mike is
Yeah.
making a statement right now.
Shots
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
you know we've been to many airports and like saw the sushi. I was like, I ain't touching that sushi.
No, that's true, and that's true, and even the grocery store sushi, because it sits there for like
Yeah.
6 hours before you eat it.
Yes,
But there is a pizza place. There's a couple pizza places, but one I think of specifically on this island that like I've never really had a good pizza there. You know,
And they're known for their pizza, or they're a pizza place.
is there pizza in the name?
it's a pizza place.
Wow.
Let's put it this way, and only Kauai people will get this, but you will get this. Why go get pizza there when I could walk about 2 minutes and get a really good cheeseburger?
Oh, okay.
He knows what I'm talking about now.
Oh, you're talking about my. Oh, I mean,
Yeah, down
yeah,
in
yeah, down
the
under.
hood.
You're
Down in the
talking
hood.
Down
down in the
under.
hood.
Talking down under. Oh, okay. I get it. Yeah.
I get it that some
You know,
people eat it, some people dig it, but man, to me, that's just.
He's making statements.
I eat Sbarro's way before I eat that one.
Oh snap! I love smart. See, that's the thing. Like, you know, I could eat like terrible pizza, but like terrible sushi, I just can't do it. I just can't do
That's
it,
true.
man. It's just
No.
so risky. Okay. Anyway, next question, Kahai.
Rob said last week he showed me a finger style chunk.
Yes.
I've tried it, but I can't seem to get the chunk on it.
Okay.
Can you show it again?
He's talking about cause Rob, you know, just a little background. He's the guy that you know, that suggested honus when we were doing our songwriting challenge. So this is kind of what I'm talking about here, the little finger chunk. Little honu. Okay, so how am I doing that? So I'm basically just like resting my forearm here at the top of the ukulele where I normally would, and that just kind of like keeps my wrists nice and steady, so that when I do my finger picking, I can actually like lift up and then like put it back on, and it always goes back in the same exact place. Okay, so with that said, it's I separated thumb for the bass, middle and pointer finger for the E and A strings, so I can kind of do this A B kind of finger picking. Okay, and when it rings out, if I place my fingers back on, because it's kind of like a free stroke. Imagine a free stroke. So free stroke doesn't rest on anything. You're just kind of lifting up. So it starts with a free stroke, and even if you just place your hand back, you're gonna get that kind of noise. It's not necessarily a chunk where chunk is like a heavy, kind of hit. So the hit, that sound comes from my thumb kind of going to the C string, but also hitting the G string at the same time. So that. And then my pointer and my middle finger just kind of tap on. So here it is.
It's kind of just resetting, right?
Right. Yeah, you're just resetting it from the free stroke. So once again, I'll show it from this angle here. So it's that free stroke right here. So it's on the top, and then go back down.
Yeah. So it's not meant to be loud.
No. I just suggested it because the change actually happens on the upbeat. So. So because of that change in the upbeat, it's good to just kind of put your fingers down on the downbeat and then hit it on the up. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Like instead of thinking of it as like a percussive technique, it's more of like a ghost note, right?
Yeah.
Where you're doing it and it's helping you keep rhythm, but
Yeah.
it's not really something that you have to hear.
Or like a slight mute,
Yeah. but it's not something
Stop
that
the
it's like
strings from ringing out.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be heavy. So if you're looking for a noise and stuff, it's not really there. It's like a ghost note. So saying I love you. Are you gonna come up with the harmony?
I don't remember the harmony is.
The words.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to
So
play
you're
anymore.
doing your thumb with the C,
With the
and
C,
then
so the bass. So I'm doing this A B picking.
and
so
then
if-
the E string is with your pointer.
yeah.
And,
No.
and
Yeah.
the
Pointer
A-
E, middle finger A.
Yeah, and you're
And I'm
doing
just
those at the
resetting
same time. So
So on
thumb
the
and then pointer middle at the
Yeah.
same time.
da-da. Oh, is that a dream? Oh, is that a dream to dream? That's a Cascade song that like I was ripping off of that. I didn't even realize it ripped off. Yeah.
Yeah, Rob says, I see you're bending your fingers and hitting them with your nail. And he says that he likes that when you do it, it makes a click. But I don't think you're
Not really, you know.
It's more from the thumb, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
So
and
the thumb. So I'll show it again. Here it is slow. It's not the nail hitting it. Okay. Because the nail is here, you can see that. So the nail's not hitting it.
No, I think he was thinking the nails of your pointer and middle finger.
Oh no,
are
yeah, not
hitting,
even that.
but
Because
it's
it
not
just
really-
goes on the strings like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
See?
So the click is more from
Yeah,
your
so see,
thumb. Just
I really have no nails, like other than my middle finger, but that doesn't really count either. Because it's still not that.
yeah. So it's more from the thumb, kind of hitting the G string, which isn't playing anything.
That's what you're hearing.
Kind of yeah, and
Yeah.
then yeah,
it's just a
your
string
hand.
noise, really.
Yeah. Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think I don't want to like tell Rob not to do this. It's not necessarily bad, but I think he might be like overthinking it.
Yeah.
It's just something that happens naturally when you kind of follow along. If you
Well-
just try and do that.
It's interesting you said earlier that it's not a percussive technique, but in a way, the way you're using it, it kind of is.
Kind of.
You're-
'Cause but it's not percussive technique like a James Hill, like
Like you're gonna hear it and
Yeah.
it stands out.
right. And what more importantly, within
Right.
the framework of your rhythm, it's actually filling in the
Yeah.
spaces that you're not playing.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to play this by yourself, this could actually be super useful
Yeah.
because rather than play and space, that click is right there in those spaces.
It
Also,
helps you
where
with
like a
rhythm.
snare drum would be in a drum beat on 2 and 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
It's-
it's drummer speaking up over here.
It's kind of like when we talk about strumming, and we don't use strumming patterns anymore. But people would get confused because we'd say like down, down, up, up, down, up,
Yeah.
and they do like down, down. You know, like without the motion of the
down,
ups.
down, up, down.
Yeah,
They do
without
it Metallica style.
yeah, pretty much. But you need the motion of the upstrum, and that kind of like that, tap is like you said, resetting kind of
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
pick again.
Mhm.
So
You basically just putting your fingers on the strings.
Yeah, where they need to be in
Yeah.
order to pluck.
The only kind of weird thing that's happening is my thumb is hitting the G at the top. So like the thumb, almost like the knuckle of the thumb, is like what's hitting.
Aldrine's practicing to learn how to play slap bass on his ukulele.
That's
Watch out, Marcus
slap.
Miller. Here you go.
Oh, there's Aldi Miller. Coming on. What's going on? Going after your job, yo. Is he still working?
Marcus Miller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot.
Yeah, for your job, man. Yeah, where does he work at? Rob's. Where does he play? Oasis? Not Oasis.
Not Oasis. No.
Oasis.
There's only one guy. He's got a
he's
monopoly on
pretty
that.
okay. It's okay. He does well.
Monopoly.
Yeah. You and Mayray. You guys play it.
No, we're just subs for the regular
That
guy.
guy, yeah. You're not
And then
as dark.
it can be twice a year because he's home for winter and summer.
All right, so next question. Go ahead.
I think that was pretty much it from the chat. But then we did have a student review that came in like last week, right before our live lesson. So we didn't get it like before. So I figured we could do it now.
It was
Renee,
and she was doing a Liz Phair song. Good job, Renee. You know. It actually sounded pretty good. I like how you did it with no chunk at first, then you did it with the chunk afterwards to just kind of like, you know, to spice it up a little bit, you know, and I guess would be the chorus. I'm not too familiar with the song, but I think the part that needs a little bit of adjusting and work is the part where you're making those quick changes, you know, those kind of changes. So what you're doing is you're actually letting it ring out, but I think if you just cut it short, it will sound like what it's supposed to be, just kind of like as a breakdown there, you know, like in I don't know the chords to it, so I'll just say maybe E flat, B flat, E flat, F. Let's just say that. So you're doing a, and even that sounds kind of okay, but it's like that's kind of what it sounded like, where it's okay, you know, but I think if you cut it short, like if you cut it like this, and then it'll kind of serve the purpose of like, okay, well that's, you know, that's just punches. Like what would you call that? Punches, right?
Yeah,
there.
punches.
Like you would just
Rhythmic accents, whatever you want to think about now.
So it would actually make more sense to kind of do it that way instead of letting it ring out, because it's coming off as a little sloppy, as if like, oh well, you know, she's still ringing out this chord and you're in that next chord already. And it just sounds like you kind of were late to the, you know, to the next chord, even if you were on time, because the last chord is still kind of ringing out. Yeah, especially because she's got low G, and that's kind of dragging it out too. So, I would say cut those notes. If you cut those notes and stop them, like and make as if it is a punch, or just punch the notes, I guess, right? Punch the chords. If you punch the chords, it should sound a lot better.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mike?
Something to think about with a string instrument too is if you're hitting a note,
Yeah.
if you're hitting a chord and letting it ring out, when you hit the next one,
Yeah.
the strings have a moment. Any string instrument is going to have a moment of changing of the vibration. So if you're trying to have that really crisp articulation, that's really difficult at that point, because if you're hitting, the strings are vibrating, and you're hitting them again and forcing them to do something else. And so the different vibratory patterns of the strings, I realize that sounds very nerdy at this
Vibratory
point.
patterns.
Depending on
Here's $5.
depending on what chords you're going to, if you're moving to a chord that, say, one string is moving to another note that's not that consonant with it, you can actually get like a decrease in sound. You can get a decrease with strummed instruments, and obviously this is the expert, not me, but on my own instrument, bass, that's one of the things. When I'm playing, I'm trying to put, even if I'm not articulating like boom, 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 I'm trying to put like that much space between each note,
so that,
and not let it just wah wah like that.
Yeah, that's because that's what it sounded. And maybe that's what gave it that kind of a false sense of like her being late, you know, because it's trying to
Right. And keep in mind too, if you're strumming something and say you're doing one chord that's like a three note chord, like say a G7 or something like that, and then you move something that's like a 4-note chord, like a B flat, that note, or actually I'm sorry, the other way around, like a B flat to a G. Yeah. If you did that, then that last string that's not being held down anymore could be ringing out.
Like an undertone.
Making that joke about slap bass, that's something that basses have to contend with all the time. When we're playing slap, it's real hard to have the other strings not vibrate. And you have to mute really well. If you hear someone who's really good at slap bass, you only hear the notes that they're hitting. You're not hearing everything else. If you hear someone who's really bad at it, you're just going to hear a lot of like rumble as all the strings kind of just start vibrating, and that could be happening somewhat in there.
So you're recommending that she kind of cuts it short?
Yeah.
Each chord short,
or at least like cut it. You know, don't let it like just ring out. Like it doesn't even have to be that short.
So how would you do that?
So if it's E flat, B flat, E flat, F, or B flat, F, or I don't know what it was. So instead of going it's even that is like, I don't know how she was doing it. Like it just kind of rung out. But if she did,
so she's kind of just like lifting up on the chord, or
using left hand mutes.
You can use any kind of left hand mute. So I'm using a combination of lifting up and also my pinky finger.
to cut it short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds a lot more articulate. It sounds punchy because I feel like that's what it's supposed to be, you know. And if even if it isn't, it's you know, like how you added the chunk in there to make it, you know, to make it sound a little bit different from the other patterns that you were doing. Doing that makes you know, adds a little bit more, you know, sprinkles a little rainbow, you know, rainbow of sunshine in your playing.
At the very end, Renee kind of like, she fades out of the song, and she plays the chord like once and then holds it and then plays the other, and that really fits for that setting because it's like you want the chord to ring out, right, and like fade gradually. So but like even that too, like when she did that, I was thinking, oh, it might be better instead of using your like nail strum, because that's like pretty harsh, to just go to your thumb, like just strum down through the strings with your thumb. Kind of makes the vibrations a little bit less, you know, or like shaking so much, and it kind of like evens it out.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, it's very nitpicky, you know, kind of. It was, she played it well, and I thought it was good. But you know, like if she's looking for criticism and stuff, I'm gonna find every like
just ways to make it a little bit better.
Yeah, and even I was talking to Aaron about it. Is like kind of, it's just like if you keep playing the song, you'll probably figure out how to smooth all these things over anyway. Yeah. So yeah.
Good. So next up, Kai.
One more thing. Kind of the difference between just that the standard kind of ukulele player and like the studio musician or stage musician. Usually, like the one of the key differences is like doubling up on the time, you know, so that you can keep the time better. Yeah. And so like she was just doing like a regular like a I don't know if I'm tuned, but like down, up, down. Yeah. And maybe if she did like a like double
or she can do one verse one way and then do another verse another way.
Because I kind of like just did like a quick listen through the actual song, and then she like Liz Fair played it live with like some other guitar players in the background,
and there's some like double time,
and it's kind of sounded like they were doing more of that.
Well, I mean, from a songwriting standpoint, you know, you don't really want necessarily one rhythm to just permeate the whole song.
Drink water or something like that. It's cool, man. You can take water breaks. It's okay, man. A roast pork is
it's tough on the throat.
Take it over. There it is. There's your beautiful voice, buddy.
But yeah, I mean, to have just one rhythm that just permeates the whole song, unless that's what you're aiming for, which is more of almost like a relaxed.
No. Yeah, we're not sponsored by them. So
okay.
Just joking.
Unless you have a song that is in fact meant to have that kind of that flowy kind of, and that song is probably not it. You want to have some kind of something to break up the. Monotony is a bad word for it, but it is kind of the word to use. Because if someone's just going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and just never stops, it almost like hypnotizes your ear. You start to tune out. And if they're just going down, up, down, tick it down, down, you don't have to do that all the time. But if you throw it in your ear, someone's ear will just go like, "Oh, wait, pay attention, pay attention."
Yeah, it's like what you hear if you ever hear like a big group of kids playing ukulele, young kids, or like. It can be adults to adult beginner.
Or
Just like a big group of people who are all playing the same like strumming. It becomes less like you hear each strumming and you kind of just hear like a drone of the whole chord. It's like, oh, that's obviously a G chord, but I hear no rhythmic like differences.
Right, it comes like it's just a big wave of sound at you rather than like defining the sound of the strum.
Yeah, and
you break the monotony.
If you kind of sync up with like the double time, it seems like you can find a groove easier. Like if you watch when we did that flash mob for the San Francisco ukulele festival, everybody is just kind of like doing the regular But if you watch like all the professionals that are playing, like most of them are in the front. If you look at all of them, they're doing it double time.
Yeah.
And they're
like Craig and Sarah and Abe.
yeah. If you watch them, all of them are kind of syncing up with a double time, and then that makes it more or less like the.
Well, it's less monotonous,
Yeah,
and it also and when you do things like that, it also lends itself to like a sense of forward motion.
Yeah.
When you're playing.
Like
It's
kinda,
real hard to have forward motion when you're just doing like a quarter note type strum. It's real hard.
Because you imagine like a
if you do
march
the-
and like a,
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Even with marches, what you're normally hearing is like bass drum going boom, 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 but if you listen to like the snare drums, they're like
Yeah.
and that's kind of what's saying.
What drives
here's
it
the beat,
forward.
but the snare drum is what's saying
Yeah.
forward, go,
Yeah,
go,
go.
go.
Yeah.
You know.
Like, there's a lot of songs that I like, and when you break it down, they'll do the verse like pretty, it's like a pretty 4/4 or like easy beat to follow, 4 on the floor. And then when it goes to the chorus, they'll double time it. So it just feels like, the song picked up.
Yeah.
And when you break it down, though, it's like still the same BPM.
Yeah, you're
It just
staying,
feels like
staying at the
it's
same
like,
BPM.
So it's instead of just 8 notes, you're adding some like 16 notes in there.
Yeah. Every like you really, I don't know.
If we had to break it down music theory style,
so-
right? Because Mike is here, We
or like
You don't have to because I'm here.
yeah, we do. We want to look smart next, like, we don't want to look like we don't know what we're doing. We've been doing this podcast for years, and we've somehow managed to look okay. So, do we have another question before?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
So Wes asks, this is
going back,
going back to finger picking and doing that stuff. Is it okay if I anchor with my pinky while performing that picking / dampening?
Yeah, I mean it's it's totally fine. Like I think I do that for say like for that song too. So it's not like I've never done that. It's like no, always like free free strokes and stuff. While it is a free stroke, you can kind of rest it. Anything that would keep your hand in the same position or your fingers over the same strings and stuff, as long as it's consistent, that's really all we need. So
that actually might help.
The only thing I would think of, like the reason why you wouldn't anchor your pinky is because like if you want to pull off further from the strings and get like a harder hit when you come back, right? When you do that finger picking chunk.
No really need. Like maybe if you had like like a low G string that's what you call like a wound low G string, then you might want that kind of slappy kind of sound, but not really. And any
for most songs like that amount width when you anchor your pinky is fine.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that part. Like if you want a louder kind of slap to the finger picking kind of chunk or mute thing, whatever we want to call it, definitely add that wound, that bronze wound. Is that what it is? Is it bronze? Aluminum wound, but just colored like
usually
yellow.
Well, it depends on which company's making it. Like Kamaka and Aquila's, I think, are aluminum wound.
And so that just kind of gives you more sound when you put your thumb on there, especially when you're doing the thumb on the C and then also hits the G. It'll give a little bit more sound in that slap going down on the G string.
Yeah. That's like and that's what like a lot of guitar players do, like Troy Fernandez, or not Troy Fernandez, Ernie Cruz, right? Like when he plays, he kind of does the finger style, and he plays a lot of bass notes with his thumb. So that same thing too, like they do a lot of that chunk, or like mute, and it really is just keeping time. So I think, if you're playing, and you try to keep time while you're playing, and you just try to play it pretty naturally, it comes easy. It's not something that you really have to. Oh, how do I digest this and get into it? Yeah.
Okay, so any more questions?
I think that was it. Yeah.
Okay, so during the retreat, we were we did 3 days of instruction. The first day I had one group, Clay had another, had the other group, and then the second day we switched group. But the third day we kind of came together and we we did almost like a Q&A, like just ask us whatever you want to learn from us, and like I'll kind of give you my take and then Kale will give you his take. And someone asked us about like our heroes, and we both said Jake. And Calais shared this Jake story where like Jake called his home phone, his house phone, and his mom's like, Calais, get in here, Jake's on the phone or whatever, you know. So I haven't had that feeling in a long time. All right, but this past weekend I got that feeling again because of last week's. I think it was last week or the week before's podcast. So the one I just said, now you know what I'm talking about. Now you know where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So the one and only James Hill contacted me via the website, and he's like, hey, I was listening to your podcast, like just from the first sentence alone, like, oh my god, did I say something like, like did I say something wrong? Am I gonna get scolded by Mr. Hill right now? Am I, oh my god, like what did I say something bad, like bad mouth, like, you know, I don't think I said anything. I don't really badmouth people. Like, so he goes, I was listening to your recent podcast, and thank you for mentioning me as one of your, top 5 instructors and top 5 players. I'm like, oh my god, James Hill contacted me, and he thanked me for the things that I said on my podcast. I was reverted back to that same ukulele player like 20 years ago. I was taken back 20 years ago where like, oh my god, James Hill, he's so cool. He's like I did, dude. I fanboyed out. And like, we've been in the same show, and so we've shared the stage and stuff, but still, like
he
that's
actually listens to the things that I make.
Because like deep down inside, I'm still like an ukulele player, like like a fanboy. Like I admire these guys, like James Hill. Seriously, one of my favorite. Not just instructors, but like players in general, like so super creative and super musical, and just the things that comes out of his brain is just amazing.
We should complain about him right now just to see if he's still listening. we gotta complain just like this. Oh, that James Hill, he's too handsome. Why does he have to be so handsome? Oh, he's too talented.
So when he contacted me via the site, he contacted Aldrine Guerrero directly, and I was gonna contact Kahai Fergan directly. It's like, hey, what was that about me being too handsome? But yeah, like I just like fanboyed out. I'm like, because it shows up in my email, and I was like, James Hill, like he has my email, like why can't he just like email me directly? Why did he email me the site and stuff? And I read it, I was like, that is the nicest thing, like. And he's like, oh, can't wait to catch up soon and stuff. I'm like, yeah, me too, James. I can't wait to catch up and hang out. Best friends forever. That's the title of this episode. Aldrine and James, best friends forever.
It's always
the BFF show.
AXJ. BFF.
It's always cool though too, because I think we talk about like all these ukulele players, and we don't expect any of them to listen to them.
Yeah, right.
Like even when
we got better things to do. James is a dad now, and he's like putting out content, and he's traveling everywhere still. Like I don't expect him to listen to a 1-hour podcast of just like us just spewing whatever like garbage comes out of our mouths sometimes,
or even Calais, right? Yeah. Calais was on the podcast, and I don't expect Calais to go back and be like, I listened back to that podcast we did.
Right.
Like, no.
I don't even expect like Mike to listen to the podcast, let alone James Hill, one of, if not the best ukulele player in the world,
It is funny when Mike comes in and then he's like, oh, I listened to last week's podcast. I'm like, why? Like, I listened to the podcast to do all the...
Because you're contractually obligated
to do all the links and to do everything. But yeah, I don't expect anybody else.
We don't have the funds to subcontract it so that you don't have to listen to yourself anymore.
Yeah.
But it was just surreal, and it really like kind of brought me back. It like gave me giggles, like, oh my god, James Hill said this, and I couldn't wait to like come to work the next day. I'm like, guys, guess who messaged me on intercom or whatever? James Hill. You know what he said? He said, thank you for mentioning me as your top 5 instructors. I didn't even think anyone cared, like, what list? We should make more lists. We just tag people.
Let's mention different people each time, so like maybe we'll hit somebody else. Right?
And it's crazy because like I said, we know each other. Like I've talked to him many times, and we've like shared stage, and we've like we've shared meals and drinks, and so it's like he's a buddy. He's a buddy of mine. I love James, but yet like it's still gives. It's also James Hill. Like, gosh, damn. Like it's like I said, one of the best youth players on the planet, and it's just like he's messaging Mike. James Hill, message me. Oh my god.
He's actually really good.
I'm actually
with
not hearing these
too.
words. All I'm hearing is, "Oh my god, he asked me to the prom."
I would be the happiest.
He's really good with kind of like taking care of his whatever, like he does his own artist relation kind of stuff. So as far as emails, like he's always been really good, even from the beginning. So he stays on top of his emails. I'm sure his inbox is zero. Somehow I'm sure he gets way more emails than we get, and still he stays on top of it. So
I like that we did a podcast with him like way a long time ago, and I think we did the podcast. And he said, like, "Oh, hey guys, my wife is pregnant. I might give birth any second now."
That's right.
So if I run out of the podcast, that will be the reason why.
But he still agreed to do the podcast.
It was crazy. He's a good guy. And by the way, we talked about Ukulele X. That series that he put out. He put it out on his YouTube channel, so make sure to check that out. He taught Billie Jean like the way that he does it with the tuck 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 tucks. Like I don't know what to, with the X. The ukulele X in it, like I was like, oh.
Okay, so now once you add the 8 other things he's doing,
I'm no James Hill, so I'm not even gonna try. Like I kind of attempted it. I'm like, that is quite intricate, and it's it takes someone like a James Hill to figure out something like that, an arrangement like that.
The only hard part is that it takes a James Hill to learn how to do it off that video too.
No, but like it's amazing because you watch him do it, and he like makes you feel like you can do it. Like that's something that I gotta I don't know if people get from my videos, but if they don't, like that's something that I aspire to do. It's like to make people feel like it's possible. Like even. Like that is, I'm a professional musician. Like I'm a professional ukulele player. Like to be more specific. And I I watch it. I'm like, I can't do that. But then as I was watching his tutorial, it's like maybe I can do that. James just gave me the confidence that I needed. That boost. Thank you, James. And it's I aspire to be like that good of a teacher.
I think that's also a part of James, like his humbleness, kind of. Because even when we did the podcast with him, we were kind of like fangirling with him, and he's like, "Oh no, it's not that big of a deal. Like I just play ukulele and I just do stuff." And we're like, "But you play it really good, you know that, right?"
He puts his pants on one leg at a time, but once they're on, he makes great music.
He puts his pants on one leg at a time. Problem is he doesn't use his hand. He just floats into them.
The pants go to him.
It's like James is lying on bed and then his legs just come up because the pants float on.
I don't know. I don't even know how he found out. Like, guarantees something. Does he listen to pod, or like did somebody say, "Hey, Ukulele on the Ground mentioned you"? I would like to think the latter, just because I'm not that kind of guy. Like, oh yeah, of course James Hill listens to the podcast. He has a million and one things to do.
On his commute to his downstairs office, he listens to the pod.
Though I would say this too. I sometimes think you guys don't realize how many people actually do listen to this thing.
All 5 of you.
Because both stores. Right. By the way, since I'm working at a different music store now, but same, it's still a music store. I can't tell you how many times people have come into the store and then they look at like one of the ukuleles that has like your little 1 month of lessons tag, or whenever we sell an ukulele, we give them a chord chart that has your website written in the top. And I can't tell you how many people have already just been like, "Oh yeah, I go to the website already. Oh yeah, I do that. I listen to that. I learn. That's why I'm buying an ukulele, because I watch some of their videos on YouTube."
See, I get Ukulele on the Ground, but like the podcast though, like it's so obscure. But then again, like I thought you were gonna go in the route of like, people come to your store all the time, like, "Hey, you're Magic Mike, right?"
That has actually happened too. Actually, the fun.
See, that's like specifically a podcast thing.
I think the funniest one is when some guy came when I was still at Quine Music and Sound. And it was just like one of those hot days the AC wasn't working, so I didn't have my hat or my glasses on. And this guy comes in, he's looking for an ukulele, and we're talking about, when I start talking about features of ukulele, and he stops and like, Are you Magic Mike?
Did he close his
Just from
eyes?
the-
Like, it
just
doesn't
from the voice.
Yeah, just from
Yeah.
my voice. He's like, I'm like, not the movie one, but yes. And he's like, oh my god, I listened to you on Ukulele. I was like, yes, you're right. I'm like,
then you make with
so
your
I
tearaway pads, like, yes, Magic Mike.
I walk back, put my hat and glasses on. He's like,
Oh,
this what you're thinking?
There
He's
you
like,
are.
yeah, he was like, oh, you got it.
Hey, but his costume on.
It's my secret identity.
Yeah, that's what he looks like normally. So, right?
Yeah, so if
It's
I
not
don't
a
wear my hat,
costume.
so if I don't wear my hat or glasses, it's hard to recognize.
Civilian mode.
It is undercover mode.
Yes. You know,
But yeah, that happens a lot.
plain
People
Asian
come-
guy.
people come into any music store I've worked at, and guaranteed, people know about this. They've listened to the podcasts, you know,
Well-
and I don't know how they found it. Whether they go through the site or they're just on iTunes,
Yeah.
and maybe, you know, if they're on iTunes and just search up ukulele because they're interested in ukulele stuff, and this thing comes up. If you type in ukulele on the iTunes, this is one of the first things
The
that pops
on
on the... Sorry.
the iTunes app or the iTunes program. Then
Love the iTunes. Sorry, Mike. I can't keep it together.
after 3 months, this is what I came back for. But you know, this podcast is one of the first things that shows up.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean?
That's
so
cool.
if someone's just interested in ukulele and they wanna, hey, let me see if there's a podcast about it. This is one of the very first things they would find.
We should start doing a better job, because I think if this is going to be their first episode, the first thing they're going to hear is, Mike, what's your favorite food? It's like, I thought this is supposed to be an ukulele podcast.
Yeah.
You know? And we start talking about like
Maybe just add a
random
disclaimer at the beginning.
pizza and sushi.
Maybe just add a disclaimer. Then. Just let you know, folks. We don't always talk about ukulele, but eventually we'll get to ukulele music stuff.
Yeah. So we should start trying
Yeah,
harder.
disclaimer.
Because we don't know, who's listening. Guys like James Hill apparently are listening. So I should get
What
my
if
facts
James
more,
Hill listened to
like,
one of our
correct.
food episodes?
Please don't.
Last week's podcast, I titled it "Music and Ukulele Focus." 'Cause
Yeah.
that's all we are, right?
Right.
We never
Exactly.
we never talk about video games.
No, not at all.
No.
Or food.
We always
Or
stay
wrestling.
on track. Yeah.
Yeah, not like I wanted to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake demo that I just played last night, and it basically takes you all the way through when you first blow up the first reactor. You know what I'm talking about.
All
I
right.
do. It's the only thing that's even
Don't attack it with its
sort of-
tail up, man.
No.
Don't.
It's the only thing
do
that's
it.
even sort of making me want to buy a PS4.
Yeah. Anyway, so go ahead.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about it.
Is there another question, Kai?
I mean, maybe Monster Hunter
I
World.
don't. Yeah, I don't think there's another question. We actually had. I don't know if we'll have time to do this, but I kind of planned something with Aaron. Adam Neely just put out a video that's called "What's Your Musical IQ?" And so there's a test you can take online.
Are you going to go to that
see-
website?
We have it set up, I think.
Oh,
and
have
then-
fun.
Oh wow.
I've watched it and taken this test already.
So
so-
what is your
Yeah.
musical IQ?
Oh,
I don't know what
like
this
the
is.
pitch recognition one, like the one where you listen to one and then they do it in different keys. Was my
Yeah.
highest one.
Well, we could have you guys kind of like
Both do it.
take it together and kind of consult before we put in the answer.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what is our combined musical IQ?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
Is
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
So we're giving credit.
So you
Adam
took this
Neely's,
already, Mike?
I took some of it. I didn't finish
Okay,
it. You know,
okay.
I know that that second one was the one I
We'll
was
see
doing
if this
good
That's
this
why you have
works.
your speaker. I was like, why does he have a speaker?
Yeah,
It's
it's
just like
Kahai's speaker.
okay.
So let's see.
Mhm.
I don't know.
So we're going through this test linearly.
I guess so.
Okay.
I don't know what that means, but I mean I know what linear
It's
means.
a-
Right?
My name through the trees, the sun painted portraits in the sky.
Is this the singer in tune with the music?
Oh, can you hear it again?
I don't know.
No.
I think that was it. Is the singer in tune with the music?
I think these are test questions too.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
I didn't. Oh, I'd see. I didn't know what I was supposed to pay attention to. I was okay. Do you know the answer to this?
I can't
It's
remember
different.
what Adam.
It's actually different.
yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. It did that clip actually didn't sound familiar to me. So I was like,
It's what do you?
I would think
I
want to say
like it.
really.
You don't think
I
so?
think so. No.
I wasn't paying attention to her voice. I was actually paying attention to the drums because like that was kind of distracting. Took away from her voice. I'll say yes, and Mike will say no.
Okay, we'll see. Oh, there's another one.
Okay, so then this
Definitely not. No.
This one is. So then what they're asking is which one is more out of tune, the first or second one?
The second one, definitely.
You can-
that
okay,
is.
okay.
The bass line and that vocal is clashing.
I think you don't have to hold it right up to the mic.
Oh, okay,
It's pretty loud.
pretty loud.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah, that was
We'll
definitely
say
out
second
tune.
this one is out of tune.
Yeah, second one.
Okay. And then continue. So let's practice. You'll hear two examples of the same music. In one
Okay.
example, the singer will be in tune, and in the example, the singer will be out of tune. So you got to figure out which one is more out of tune.
Okay. Now we have
Okay.
instructions. Okay.
Let's try it.
Goodbye to Bolero, my sentimental friend. I don't know when I will drop the needle on you again.
Can I just say that one already?
Goodbye to Bolero, my sentimental friend.
The first
one.
I don't
Yeah.
know when I will drop the needle on you again.
So the
You can
first
almost
or
hear
the
the
second
tune in that second one.
is more out of tune.
Yes.
The first
yeah.
one is more out of
More
tune.
out of
More
tune.
out of tune.
Yeah.
First. Correct.
Yeah. What up now? What up now, Adam Neely?
It's interesting because actually,
That's the first.
Mhm. That's a
Second
little
one.
bit harder when it's the second one.
Second
yeah.
one.
It's closer than
Yeah.
that first clip.
That did sound like the second one. Correct.
What
it's
am I good
interesting
at?
because they're actually using different ones than when I went
I
through
think,
this.
I think they load different ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
I think they just have a big pool of music that they can pull from.
is it
to test.
mostly just this then? Like which one is more out of tune?
No, that's the
There's-
first section. The second section is
Oh,
going to be.
spoilers. Let's just take
But
a
you
test.
need the instructions on how
Okay, yeah,
to
no,
do
he'll,
it.
he'll give you
Yeah.
the instruction when it comes.
Okay.
Spoilers. No spoilers.
We got some time left.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So let's try. And like people in the chat too, you can
You
put
play
in-
along. You play
put in
along.
what you think the first or the second.
Mhm. Yeah, we can't see your answers, so.
So yeah.
You won't influence us.
Okay, ready?
Yeah. This is still which one is more off tune?
Mhm.
Okay.
Continue. Okay. Main test.
Any man I can behave like many men I can behave.
First one.
First one. Yeah, like
First
it made
one
me
is
wince.
More,
Like,
more out of tune.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I could fly through the sky on the open sea.
It sounds like such a
I
ripoff
could
of one.
fly through the sky on the open sea.
First one was
one.
more off
First
tune,
one was
yeah.
more out of tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one also sounds like a ripoff of Moana.
Yeah.
Okay. First one.
First one was more out of
Yeah.
tune. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. Too.
I know your
Yeah.
voice. I hear it from the depths of the void. I know your voice. I hear it from the depths of
Second one.
Second one. Yeah, second one.
The second one?
Second one.
Yeah. It was like only slightly. though.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when he elongated the note, he was kind of there, and then like he
Yeah,
went flat.
it's harder to tell
Yeah.
if the vocal line is moving too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when they do just those long
The
notes,
long
it's
notes.
really
Yeah,
obvious.
that's what I'm listening to.
It's weird because like you click it and then it starts playing the next one already while it tells you if you were correct or not. So it's kind of like
It's also testing your
let me digest
multitasking
this
capabilities.
first.
Yeah.
Okay, second we're gonna say.
Yeah. No, wait. What do we say?
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, the second one sounded to me, but what do you think?
I almost couldn't tell. Kind of the second one too.
I want to go.
Yeah, this is like the eye test. Like,
Yeah.
First one, second one. First,
I think
Second
they're
one.
supposed to get
Yeah.
harder though.
I want to go against the grain. I want to say first one.
First
Okay.
one. Okay. What
We
should
said
put?
second.
Wait
Second.
a second.
Second was correct.
It was really good.
That is
I
hard.
think it's second one too. It's
I
actually thought it was the first one.
That first long note just seemed just a little. Well,
Yeah.
I thought it was the
I thought it
second
was
one.
really. I thought it was. I don't know.
I don't know, what
This
do you-
was the first time I'm like I'm actually not quite sure.
it's supposed to though, like because I think what they did with this is they put auto tune on it, and then they're moving it up. But like the first few ones, they
like
they make it
six.
they
Yeah.
make it like
A lot.
wider,
Yeah.
and now it's coming closer and closer to almost
Yeah.
being in tune.
Yeah. What is the answer?
What do you want to
I said first.
first?
And also
Yeah.
second.
Okay, I'll put first.
Okay.
First was wrong.
It's bad enough when one has got a hold on you, but two for two, these two have got me singing the blues. It's bad enough when one has got a hold on you, but two for two, these two have got me singing the blues.
The hard part with that one is she has that weird nasally
Yeah,
honky tonk
yeah,
sound,
yeah.
so it's like
It's
almost
kind
out
of
of tune
like a-
anyway.
It kind of flats it. Yeah.
slurring in between
Yeah.
notes to get to the next note.
I think it's the second one.
The second one.
Oh, I think it's the first. I'll put second. Second is correct.
Yeah. Oh,
Stay as long as you like. It's a sad vocation. Stay as long as you like. It's a sad vocation.
first.
I-
First one.
I think this one is the hardest for me to hear.
I think
Yeah, that one sounded exactly
Yeah.
the same for me.
It's the first one.
the reason why I think it's getting harder too, I'm noticing in the mix, all the background stuff is getting quieter and quieter.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're having less stuff to compare it to.
yeah,
in your
and
ears.
it was kind of like a amorphous synth
Yeah.
background.
Yeah.
So it was like it wasn't like
So it's
a
kind of moving
hardcore-
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
you
say
think
first.
it's first.
I say first.
First.
I don't know. Wouldn't have had a
I'll put
guess. with
first.
it. Yeah.
First is incorrect.
Ah, jeez. I would have staked some money in that one.
First one.
Yeah.
The first one was more out of tune.
I think
Yeah, they're both out too. that second line where she sings.
Oh yeah, because I mean
Yeah.
it is what is more out of tune. So
Mm.
that's
so.
so.
Yeah,
they-
I believe in some of the harder ones, both of them are going
Both
to be
of
out
them
of,
are
tune,
out of tune.
but one will just be more out of tune than the other one.
Yeah, further out of tune.
Yeah,
than-
that
And
line
then
that
that's
she
tough
sings at
too,
the
because then
end.
you're hearing both of them, and your brain's registering.
Yeah.
They're both wrong. Then you have to figure like degrees of
yeah,
wrong.
yeah. If you are listening right now, I don't.
We're sorry.
Can you tell the difference? Like I don't know if anybody listening can tell the difference at this point.
We probably should have said put headphones on.
Yeah, put headphones on.
They would have
I guess
helped.
So.
Mm.
I mean, it did say at the beginning of this.
Yeah, and we'll for sure link the test itself so
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
can try it themselves.
Yeah.
The full
Okay,
test.
So this one was the first one.
That's the first section.
Yeah.
For section. Oh, we got how much?
No. You wanted to choose the first one.
Yeah.
There's still like 5 more.
Okay, let's just go right
Just
through
keep
them. Yeah,
going?
go, keep
Rock
going,
and
keep
roll.
going. Rock and roll.
Okay, first one was correct.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I think it's the first one only because the second one sounds in tune to me.
Yeah, first.
Yeah, the first one.
First is correct.
You say, oh, what if she loves you? She might be thinking of you, wants you around anyway. You say, oh, what if she loves you? She might be thinking of you, wants you around anyway.
Second.
Second one.
Yeah.
Those are both out of tune.
Yeah. And it sounded
Especially that
like,
first line. That first line.
it kind of sounded like some notes were
Yeah.
on and some
And then
notes
he like
weren't.
corrected it. Oh.
Yeah.
But when he
Yeah.
went for that low note,
Yeah.
it was definitely like
Yeah.
definitely off.
Oh, second one is correct.
Different when she's gone, and I know why. Things are different when she's gone, and I know why.
Second one.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
I thought it
I
was the
think the
first
second
one.
one was the more out of tune.
I don't know.
Oh yeah. So wait,
I'm doing second, but
I think second.
Okay.
Okay. First or second? Second. That was
Majority.
like group effort.
Yeah, majority.
Yeah, second was correct.
I'll give you silence in the wake of the beast. I'll give you silence in the wake of the beast.
They
I'm
sound
gonna say
identical.
I'm gonna say first,
First, because the
but
second one sounded
it's
like-
really close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They sound the same.
yeah, and it seems like certain parts of them are, and then certain parts
Yeah.
aren't. So
But
it's
that
like-
could be just them making that much harder.
Yeah.
Like if they're
Yeah.
like at the beginning, I think they would definitely have let the long notes be out of tune, and you could latch onto that.
you could-
This one's
Now
the
now
shorter
it's almost like they're making sure the longer notes are actually in tune, but it's those faster the eighth note parts that are
Slightly
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to grab onto that much faster.
yeah.
the thing you have to be good at too is like hearing both songs and remembering what the first one sounded like to compare it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like compare it in your head. Like,
So we're gonna say
oh,
the
I think
first
so.
on this one. Which one
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
the
think it was
first
the
was
first.
more out of
First.
tune.
was correct? 2 more.
As it turns out it's perfect for you. Can say, as it turns out it's perfect for you.
It's like it's the first one, but it was kind of off. Like in the same place both times, and one was more off.
One was more.
Yeah, first.
First
Yeah.
is correct.
I love my husband, Kleinborn Park star. He takes me driving and then leaves me in the car. I love my husband, Kleinborn Park star. He takes me driving and then leaves me in the car.
First one.
First one.
Although the
was
interesting part
on.
is to whatever that was has a couple of like really clashy sounding chords.
Yeah.
So there's dissonance anyway in it.
The piano was
I
up too.
almost, I didn't even want to hear the second. Turn it
Yeah.
off already.
First.
is correct.
I got 2 wrong. You got
So-
all of them right, man. Good
So
job.
tuning perception test. That was just the first
Yeah.
of 3 sections
Mm.
from the musiclab.org, and it was the musical IQ test.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
try it out for yourself if you want.
yeah, and then there's like a beat perception, and then I
Beat
think
perception and then your tonal memory one.
yeah,
Mm.
So what they'll do is they'll play you a lick,
Mm.
then they'll play it 2 more times in 2 different keys,
No.
and you have to figure out which of those 2 has a changed note.
Ooh, that
Like
sounds
which-
fun. That's
I get it.
Yeah.
So they'll play you this lick, and then they'll play it for you in another key, and then once more in another key, and one of those two will have one of the notes altered,
Ooh.
and you have to pick which one of those two is the one that did it.
Yeah.
oh
yeah.
man.
I think
That one's
That
tough.
sounds
Can
fun.
you
That
have
sounds
your
fun.
instrument with you? And
I think if you had your instrument with you, that would be a lot easier.
yeah.
the beat perception one too. It's like they're playing music and they're not playing a click track to it. It's just like sometimes the beeps will be on the beat, and then sometimes it will be off. And it's like the same thing with this one too, where it seems like they'll have a majority of the song or the piece of music where it's on, and then just one or two beats are like moved just a hair off.
I'm
So you have to-
terrible at that.
you
God,
have to-
I think I failed that part of the test.
Well, like-
I tell you right now.
Yeah.
That one was tough, even and where they place the beats, because it's not just four on the floor.
Yeah.
Sometimes, watching the Amnelia video, he tripped out because in one of the examples they put the beats on 1 and 3,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is
So like,
and so they had to figure out if it's on the beat on 1 and 3 or not on the beat on 1 and 3.
Yeah.
You can see how disgusted he looks when that happens, and then he's like, I don't even know, because I was so mad.
I think it's on
already.
1 and 3.
I don't even remember. Like, I'm just guessing.
Does not spark joy.
It did not.
2 and
Not
4.
spark joy.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 and 4. This sparks joy.
Yeah.
So the second one was the one that I got the most right that I could remember on
Oh, okay.
when I tried that one. Hearing the 3,
Mm. Yeah.
because short term my musical memory like that is actually pretty decent.
So
I would hear like da 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 da. It'd be like that. So the third one would be the one you'd pick because that's the one you changed it.
yeah,
Changed it.
Yeah.
It's a half step up.
Yeah. And when you do all these tests for yourself, you get a score, and it kind of places you on like an average of like where what people get to. So you can see if you're above average or below average or right in the middle.
So right now we're 100%. We're in the top percentile.
Oh, I mean, I think I got 80%. 2 wrong.
But-
it was fun though. Like I like that because it's pretty close. Like a bunch of them were pretty close. You know.
yeah.
Well,
And they were-
it's supposed to
different
ramp
ways.
up.
And like
All 3 of them.
and some of them like both were off tune, and you just had to figure out which one was more off tune.
More
like,
off tune. Yeah, that's all 3 of them will ramp up their difficulty.
yeah.
Because at the beginning, like the second one, will have relatively easy melodic figures, and then the further in you go, the harder and harder they get.
I don't know what it was, but I feel like the one I don't know if both my wrong answers were because I said the first one where like I heard the first one, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the one, and I didn't even listen to the second one because I'm like, oh yeah, that's off tune, you know. But like I didn't keep in
It's
mind
like,
that like
that
it could
is
just be
correct.
that,
It
but
is
like
off
more,
tune.
yeah.
It is
More
off
off.
tune.
The other
That's
one
I
was
just
way
like
more-
tuned out. I was just
The
so
other one-
sure of myself because
The
I
other was
remember I'm
5
like,
cents
are you
more out of
serious,
tune."
Mike? Like, did you not hear that first one?
The beat one too, like there's when I watched Adam Neely's video, I was like, oh yeah, it's obviously this one that's like off or whatever. And then he clicked the same thing and he got it wrong. He's like, oh, but if you watch some of them or you listen to some of them, they might be behind the beat a little bit, but they feel way better. Like it feels like a better groove with the
Than straight
beeps
on the beat.
behind the
like
beats.
swung.
Yeah, so that's why I think that's why like I pick some of them that way, and then
Yeah,
it's like,
with the beat recognition, when sometimes you have to like ignore the style of music they're playing,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
and not go with what sounds necessarily the best, but what's
Is
the
it
most
on
correct.
beat?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Which is wrong then.
Yeah, I think Adam Neely had like a great conclusion at the end of his video. He said like, this is kind of cool, but in the end it seems like a glorified BuzzFeed quiz, so it's like it's
Which cast of friends are you?
Yeah.
Are you a Joey? Are
Yeah.
you a
Like-
Chandler?
if you get below average, don't take it too hard. It probably you're probably fine playing music. It doesn't really test your
Headlines
musical
where
ability.
Aldrine Guerrero quits. below average musical IQ.
I don't know anything about
I don't know
music.
anything.
It hasn't stopped you before.
And with that, we're gonna end the episode. I'm not even gonna say anything more than that's how it's gonna end. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching Thursday Live Lesson. Thank you so much, Mike. And anytime you have a Thursday off, just let me know and just
Yeah.
come down or just come
It was
down.
fun.
Yeah, you know. So thank you, Magic Mike. Oh no. All right, guys. So stick around for the one-on-one coaching. Tomorrow we have a little Friday Live Jam. We'll see you then. Aloha.